Hello everyone, Derek Sam Toys, and we are back with another action figure review. As you can tell, we've got the Elite Series 108 Bronson Reed. We just reviewed the Almost earlier, because, as of recording this, I did just record that review literally like 5 minutes ago. Just like legit right prior to this. I'll prove it to you. I still haven't even put them away. So, if you haven't checked that out, definitely recommend going and checking that out. We've got the rest of the figures in the wave. We've got the LA Knight. We've got the Almost. Now we've got to review the Bronson Reed. Out of the rest of this set, I definitely am going to try to get myself a Chelsea Green. That would just be a really nice piece to add to the collection. Even if I'm not necessarily the biggest fan, I can see the value in that unique sculpt and everything around the Chelsea Green and her chase. But maybe that's just me, I don't know. Why don't I shut the hell up and we can get into the Bronson Reed before I keep on yapping. Alrighty, you guys, now that we've got all of the accessories and the figure himself up out of the plastic prison, I would like to get into all of these accessories. He doesn't come with much, kind of like the Almost, but I think what he comes with is way better than the Almost. Of course, he comes with 2 sets of hands, 1 set weapon and or mic holding hands, and then the set of hands that's on the figure, if I can get it to stay in focus here, he's got the Von Erich claw hands. I know he does that for his entrance, but yeah, that's quite an interesting little hand piece to have. It did come with his original figure as well, if you noticed yesterday. Well, actually, we'll get into that here in a second. First things first, let's get into this jacket, which, if I will be honest, this jacket color does not come up as well as it does in person. It almost kind of looks like a tealish color on camera, as where it matches his attire here. So it's supposed to look like this green, and it will in person. But to me, it must be the way my lighting is or something, because that green doesn't necessarily match up too well. But the accessory is so nice. I can't even lie. Just the feeling of this. In between my fingers, between the inside and the outside, you've got the little thingy here, the collar of the jacket, and looking at the inside, it is a super nice cloth-ish quality accessory here in the house today. Not like that rubber hood thing that Almost got. But getting into the Bronson Reed himself, if you really need it, we'll kind of get a little bit of action figure comparisons up out of the way right now, as we do have the original Bam Bam Bigelow inspired gear release when he fought in the NXT North American Championship ladder match, I want to say, because they did do that a couple of times where they had little ladder matches with these guys, if I want to say, to kind of recreate that North American Championship moment. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you guys can tell me I'm wrong. I'd be glad to be wrong, because I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of pulling that out of my ass. But if you guys can't tell, he's got a lot of big changes, in my opinion. A lot of nice changes. First things first, he's got this upper tattoo right here on his shoulder and upper bicep. Kind of looks like a tiger with some skulls and shit. I'm not exactly too sure, but that is a really cool looking tattoo. Of course, he's got his chest piece, which, as you can tell, it isn't new, but there is kind of a fun little story behind that for me, so I'll get into that here in a bit. He's also got this really cool design up on his other upper shoulder to bicep area, along with his whole lower forearm. As you could tell, he had this the tribal tattoo there, but on this side though, he only has one tattoo, if I recall correctly, and it's whatever the fuck that is. And of course, as you can tell as well, he has no tattoos on his calves, as where this Bronson Reed does. He's actually got 3 to be exact. So, this Bronson Reed is definitely already way more fascinating just on tattoo decal alone. Of course, yes, he does have quite legitimately the same exact head scan as he did the first time. I quite literally don't even think there's anywhat of a difference in the face or like facial expression, nothing there, which I guess that's a bit of a bummer, but I'm not complaining too much here. Just taking a nice quick look up on top of the head scan. It does look nice though, but it is quite frankly the same head scan. Maybe the coloration and the beard and stuff is a bit better, but just because it is a color change or a color touch-up does not really mean all that much to me, though I will say both head scans are fairly nice. Of course, with that being said, if you've watched the Bronson Reed review, I can definitely tell you this thing will move buttery smooth. Definitely do recommend changing out these big bulky shit knee pads. But of course he's got boot cut, he's got double jointed knees, he's got the upper thigh cut. His legs I can already tell are kind of gonna be a bitch to move. As long as he doesn't have D'Lo Brown syndrome, we are okay. Let me try to get a leg to pose though, because I can definitely tell the splits were a bit of a hassle. Well, it actually looks like he's on ball joints too, so if your leg is kind of acting a bit stiff, worst case scenario, you might have a little extra plastic built up in there, and you might have to heat treat it, but not gonna say I'd be too worried about it just yet, but it's definitely a concern nonetheless, especially when you think what happened to my one solo figure. The leg was on the verge of snapping off, and I want to say he was also on ball joints, but because of how the ball underneath the crotch piece looked, it was a little messed up. Of course, he's got double jointed elbows, he's got the wrist movement, you know what I'm saying? He's got the wrist swivel, the waist swivel, got articulation in the torso, and of course the head can move around and do all the cool bells and whistles. Pretty much the same thing as the original Bronson Reed figure, though I want to say my Bronson Reed, this one kind of kicks forward with no problem. So I am gonna have to at least heat treat this bad boy maybe, which is a bummer. But why don't I get them all posed up on camera and we can get on our final thoughts here, shall we? Alrighty, you guys, now that I've got them all posed up, I got his jacket on there. I think this is something you could potentially see in the future, maybe. I don't know, I kind of wanted to see how he looked with the US Championship on there, though. Quite a nice little championship for Bronson Reed. Maybe we'll have to see it in the Fed. Maybe we'll see it on TV, who knows? I would love to see this man run around with a championship. I feel like he'd be a dominant heel that we maybe need. Who knows? But with all the little nice bells and whistles and stuff of that nature, besides the legs on mine, what would I give this figure out of a scale of 1 to 10? I'm gonna give this man a good solid, I'd have to say a good solid 7.5. I'd give him a good solid 8, but the leg issue is kind of, as I said, an issue. And I can't really get the one leg to pose all that well. Now see, this one that's on the John Silver, it's at least posing up a bit more than it usually did at first. but still kind of sucks nonetheless that I gotta deal with that. So 7.5 out of 10 is what Bronson Reed will get. And honestly, if I had to, out of a scale of 1 to 10, 1 to 5 stars, a scale of a 1 to a Young Buck match, we'd have to give this man a good solid 3 out of 5 for the Meltzer rating. I do love all the little bells and whistles and all that kind of stuff. But having the big bulky knee pads and then my legs aren't really posing up as well as the original did, kind of a problem to me. But with that being said though, I don't really have too much of a problem with this figure. Now I will say I was almost deterred from not wanting to buy this, because if I'm gonna be quite frank, in the promo pictures they kept on showing him without his chest tattoo. Now if you go look at this figure on Ringside, go look at this on Amazon, they both use the same pictures. I know I had to go out of my way to check. It doesn't show his chest tattoo. It'll show every tattoo but his chest tattoo. So I almost got deterred from wanting to buy it, because I would have found it incredibly stupid that his most updated figure is missing one of his biggest frickin' tattoos. Now, of course, if you get into, the design of the attire and stuff of that nature, this attire is definitely way more different compared to the Bam Bam attire. The Bam Bam attire's got, all the little, bubbly effects up in there and stuff of that nature. It's got a bit of more of a different design to it, as where this one is just green, white, and black flames. Nothing too difficult and out of the ordinary here. And with that being said, I think we're gonna sign out of here. So if you liked the video, feel free to like the video. If you didn't like the video, womp womp, I guess. We've got plenty of other action figure reviews, unboxings, pick-fed content. You name it, we probably don't do it, let's be honest. I'm not a gaming channel. Though I wouldn't mind maybe starting up a gaming channel. I know I've mentioned this in the past a couple of different times. But personally, I feel like that'd be kind of like a nice little neat venture, don't you? Anywho, I think on that note, I need to shut the hell up though. If you would like to, it would help us out tremendously. Feel free to subscribe. After all, it is free to subscribe. And on that note, we are on our way to 250 subscribers. I think as of recording this in the Almost review, we are sitting at 218. Just recently hit 200 not all that long ago. So if we can keep this rise going, maybe by the end of the year we'll have to move it up to 300. I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. But with that being said though, have a good rest of your night, day, evening, whatever the case may be. I don't know, because I don't live near you nor in your time zone, but if I did, where would I be? Quite an interesting question to ask. And on that note, enjoy the rest of your night. Sadly, I've still got a couple more videos to get done before I go into work tonight. But I am looking forward to having some time off nonetheless. A little bit more than usual as well the past couple of weeks. But on that note, yeah. Deuces. Ooses.